Alright everyone, welcome back. Come in, get comfortable. Today we are moving into a really useful part of English. Something you use every time you compare things in daily life. It is called degrees of comparison. Think about how often you say things like this phone is good or this tea is nice. But then sometimes you want to compare two things, or maybe even many things. You want to say which one is better, which one is the best. That is exactly what we are learning today. By the end of this class, you will be able to compare anything, your friends, your food, your city, even your mood. So let me make it simple. There are 3 levels of comparison. The first one is the positive form. This is when you are talking about one thing. You say this car is fast. The second one is the comparative form. This is when you compare two things. So you say this car is faster than that one. The third one is the superlative form. This is when you compare more than two. So you say this car is the fastest. That is the whole idea. Positive, then comparative, then superlative. Now how do we form these words? For short adjectives, usually 1 or 2 syllables, you just add "er" for the comparative and est for the superlative. So fast becomes faster and fastest. Small becomes smaller and smallest. Tall becomes taller and tallest. If a word ends with y, you change the y to I and add "er" or est. So happy becomes happier and happiest. Easy becomes easier and easiest. For longer adjectives, the ones with 3 or more syllables, you do not add anything. You use more for comparative and most for superlative. So beautiful becomes more beautiful and most beautiful. Expensive becomes more expensive and most expensive. And then we have the fun group, the irregular ones. These do not follow any rule. You just memorize them. Good becomes better and best. Bad becomes worse and worst. Far becomes farther and farthest. Let me show you how these appear in a real conversation. Imagine Arvind and Ramesh talking. Arvind says, "Bro, this tea shop is good, but the one near the station is better." Ramesh says, "True, but the tea in my hometown is the best." Then Arvind points and says, "Look at that dog. It is small." Ramesh says, "My neighbor's dog is smaller." And Arvind laughs and says, "But your cousin's dog is the smallest of all." They laugh. Then Arvind asks, "What about these phones?" Ramesh says, "This one is expensive, but the other one is more expensive." Arvind points at the foldable one and Ramesh says, "Oh, that is the most expensive phone in the entire shop." Then Arvind asks, "Who is the tallest in our group of friends?" Ramesh thinks and says, "I think Raj. He is taller than all of us." Arvind sighs and says, "And I am the shortest." Ramesh pats his shoulder and says, "Do not worry, bro, you are still the cutest." Arvind laughs and says, "Thanks, but that is not a competition I asked for." You can hear how natural and common these comparisons are in everyday talk. Now your turn for a bit of practice. Say your answers aloud. For the word big, the comparative is bigger and the superlative is biggest. For the word interesting, the comparative is more interesting and the superlative is most interesting. For the word good, the comparative is better and the superlative is best. For the word easy, the comparative is easier and the superlative is easiest. Just hearing them out loud helps your brain remember the patterns. There are some common mistakes to avoid. Never say more better, just say better. Never say most easiest, just say easiest. Do not say beautifuler, say more beautiful. Do not say gooder, say better. Remember, use only one method, either more or not both. Now let us build a few sentences together. If you say the weather is nice today, that is the positive form. If you say today is nicer than yesterday, that is the comparative form. If you say this week has the nicest weather, that is the superlative form. Another one. This laptop is light. That is positive. This laptop is lighter than mine. That is comparative. It is the lightest laptop in the store. That is superlative. Once you understand the pattern, you can compare anything you want. Alright, very good work today. Degrees of comparison help you make your English clearer when you want to talk about differences. Who is taller? Which is better? What is the best option? And so on. You will use these when talking about people, places, food, weather, gadgets, travel, everything. Keep practicing and it will become natural. See you in the next in it.